Welcome back to Family Health. Today we've been talking about life's little annoyances and how they can really start to creep up and disturb your daily routine. With the question that nobody wants to ask, talking about digestion and talking about how to make sure you're able to enjoy your healthy foods without the issues of gas and bloating and indigestion and heartburn that may be starting to bother you when you eat your favorite foods. We talked about making sure that you've got enough water in your diet, and we talked about making sure that you're consuming enough fiber. But the most important aspect of keeping your digestive system functioning properly is to make sure that it's getting the signals that it needs to tell it to do exactly what it was designed to do in the first place. We talked about the master control system in your body, the nervous system, the brain, and the spinal cord. The brain and the spinal cord are working all the time to pick up signals from your environment. There's nerves throughout every aspect of your body that are constantly sending signals back through the nerves, up the spinal cord, and to the brain. And once the brain gets those signals, it makes a split-second determination what to do with that information. And then the brain sends a signal back down the spinal cord, out through the nerves to whatever cell, tissue, organ, or system sent that signal in the first place. So when your digestive system gets food into it from the stomach, as it pushes into the digestive system, your intestines will start to stretch. And that stretching will immediately send a signal to the brain to let the brain know that food has now entered the intestines. And we need to start the process of digesting the food and extracting everything that's good and nutritional, the vitamins and the minerals from that food, and then pushing the waste product along the way till the point of excretion. So as soon as that signal is sent, the brain will send a signal back down that says, yes, begin the process, start working. But if that signal is interfered with anywhere along the pathway, then the message gets jumbled and we don't get the proper response. So whether there's interference from the intestines sending the signal up the spinal cord, up the brain, or whether there's interference from the brain trying to send the signal back down through the spinal cord and out to the intestines, the signal will get mixed up. And if the signal gets mixed up, we won't digest our food properly. We may end up with indigestion or heartburn. We may end up with gas or bloating. We may end up with constipation or diarrhea, or we may end up with just a mild stomach ache. But either way, our digestion will not function the way it was designed to. So how do we determine if your digestive system is working properly? Well, first and foremost, we want to make sure that all food that enters the body exits within 24 hours. And it's called the corn test or the 24-hour elimination test. And it's very simple. You've obviously seen this test before, you just didn't realize it. You'll notice that corn passes through the body roughly undigested. It should pass within 24 hours. If it doesn't, that's your first signal that the digestive system isn't working properly. Now, gas and bloating and diarrhea and constipation and indigestion and heartburn are all signals that your digestion is not working properly. So one of the things that we recommend is that you have your spine checked to look for anything that could be interfering with the transmission of those nervous impulses between the brain and the digestive system. We have a tendency to just look for ways to cover up symptoms. It's human nature. We want our life to go on the way we want it to go on, and we have a tendency to do whatever seems easiest at the time. But sometimes what seems easiest is actually setting us up for long-term failure. Years ago, I had a little girl come into my office. She was 8 years old at the time, and she'd been constipated since birth. Mom and Dad had taken her to every specialist in the state, and they told them, basically, there's nothing we can do. It's just your child is choosing not to have a bowel movement, so you're going to have to give her an enema. Well, by the time this child was 8 years old and came to see me, she knew when Mom was coming with that enema, and she would run into her room and she would lock the door because she was so tired of this process. She was so humiliated by it, and she was so aggravated with her body for not performing the way that everybody else's body was performing. So at 8 years old, she comes in to see me, and we determined that there was a misalignment in her spine that had probably occurred during pregnancy or during her birth process that had interfered with her body's ability to function. And what we did is we found the misalignment in her spine, and through a very simple, very scientific, very specific chiropractic adjustment, we restored the bone to its proper position, which allowed the nerves to start flowing freely without interference so that she could now start to function properly. Within seconds of her first adjustment, this young girl jumped up off the table. Mom called me that night to tell me that for the first time in 8 years, her daughter felt the urge to have a bowel movement. At 8 years old, that was a life-changing moment for that little girl. Don't you agree? And that, on a great scale, is what many people are experiencing on a much smaller scale. While they may be able to have a bowel movement regularly, perhaps they're not having it every day or following every meal like their body was designed to do. Or maybe they're only having one every other day or every third day at worst. This little girl couldn't feel the urge at all. But through a very specific scientific chiropractic adjustment, her health was restored. And the same can happen for you. When you go in to visit your doctor of chiropractic, they're going to check your spine. When you schedule an appointment to visit your doctor of chiropractic, what they're going to do is they're going to check your spine for any misalignments that could be interfering with the transmission of mental or nervous impulses from the brain down the spinal cord and out through the nerves to every cell, tissue, organ, and system in your body. And if you happen to be experiencing digestion issues, they're going to check the areas of your spine that relate to those organs. And if they find a misalignment in that area, they will use a very specific scientific chiropractic adjustment to restore those bones into their proper position, which will remove the interference to the nerves and allow for proper transmission of that mental impulse. Now, your results may not be as immediate as the little girl I just told you about, but over time, you may start to see a tremendous improvement in your digestion. So when it comes to life's little annoyances, there are very, very simple reasons these are occurring in your body. So just to recap, we want to make sure that you are consuming a minimum of 8-ounce glasses of water every day, without fail. And if there's anything going on in your life, whether it's excessive exercise or a chronic illness, or you're overweight, or you're consuming caffeine, then you need to consume even more than 8 ounces glasses of water every day. We talked about making sure that you have enough fiber in your diet. And when we come back from the break, we're going to show you a great, nutritious recipe that you can make in your blender at home, no cooking necessary, that your entire family will enjoy. It's a simple smoothie that you can make right in your kitchen in less than 5 minutes. Without having to go to one of the smoothie stores and spend a fortune, you can prepare one in your own home that your family will love and will provide the nutrition that they need, while also providing the fiber that their digestive system needs. And we talked about the most important aspect of having a properly functioning digestive system, and that is to make sure that the master control system of your human body is functioning the way that it was intended to function. That is making sure that there is no interference between the transmission of mental impulses from your brain to your body, by making sure that every single bone in your spine is in perfect alignment with the one above and the one below, so that your body can function the way it was designed. In chiropractic, we talk about a healthy spine, and a healthy spine is a healthy body. Because if we have our spine in alignment, then we are allowing the nervous system to send signals without any interference. Imagine if you were using your cell phone, and instead of having 5 bars, you had 3. You still have a signal, you just don't have a full signal anymore. Now imagine if you went through a tunnel and those 3 bars cut down to just 1. Can you see how the conversation might cut in and out, and maybe you would only get every other word or every third word of the conversation coming through? Well, it's the same way that your body can function if there's a misalignment in your spine, called a subluxation. sub meaning less than, lux meaning light, and ation meaning condition of. So if you have a condition of less than normal light or a subluxation in your spine, it means that you're not functioning, you're not receiving 5 bars on your cell phone. Your cell tower is not getting the message. It means that you're functioning on 4, 3, 2, or hopefully not just 1 bar. It means that the signals that your body is trying desperately to send to your brain are not quite getting there 100%. It means the signals that your brain is sending back down to control and coordinate the function of your body are not quite getting there 100%. And if you're missing every other word of a conversation on your cell phone, you can understand how hard it would be for you to perform the task that someone was asking you to perform. Imagine if your body was missing every other signal or every third signal that it tried to communicate with your brain. How would that affect your function? So let's be sure that our bodies and our families' bodies are functioning at optimum levels with safe, gentle, and effective chiropractic care. So don't go away, because when we come back, we've got that great smoothie recipe I talked about with you, as well as some fantastic tips to keep you and your family healthy and functioning at your best. We'll see you in just a moment.